All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on LearnBiz, the podcast, for another amazing guest. Tonight we have Cynthia Alexander, and she's going to be sharing some great information about her business. And I'm going to go ahead and shoot it to Lisa so that we can get this party started.
Hi, Cynthia. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. And I would like to thank you, ladies, for inviting me. This is an honor.
We are so happy to have you here on Learn Biz, the podcast where entrepreneurs learn from other entrepreneurs. And so, to get started, can you just answer this question? Who are you?
Well, I'm Cynthia Alexander. I'm owner and founder of Cynanotary LLC. And if you didn't catch it, the actual name Cynanotary is the first three letters of my first name, the first letter of my last name, and then notary. Because what we do, when we started, we only did notary, so it's Cynanotary.
I love that. So, how easy was that name to come up with, or did it take a long time?
Well, actually, it was pretty easy because of the fact that we were doing closings, and so that's why you named it Cynanotary, because you wanted the title companies to Cynanotary.
That's really great. So, when did you get started in business?
I got started in business back in April. No, I'm sorry, March of 2009.
And what prompted you to get into, wait, you started with the notary business, is that correct?
Yes.
And I know you have branched out from there, and you will tell us about that. But what led you to the notary business?
Well, truthfully, I had a job just over broke, and I'd been there like 21 years. I have a degree in computer science. We design interiors of submarines, cruise ships, and barges. And I got a supervisor that was just somebody I did not want to work for. And I'm like, when I found out I'd been at the company 18 years, and I found out he was going to become my supervisor. And I worked another 2.5 years because I did not wake up, like brain dead. I mean, I left the job in 2010 making $40 an hour. And when I told my mom I was leaving, she goes, "Did you lose your mind?" I'm like, "No, I was turning a certain age, and I'm proud of my age because I am 66 years old."
Yes.
So I was turning 55, and it's like, you know what? I done made them rich enough. It's time for me to work on me. And I don't plan to go to Boca ever again. My office now is 1 mile from my house.
I love that determination. So what, you just woke up like that one morning, or?
No, actually, I was watching TV and I saw this notary thing come by, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. And so I started it back in 2008. I didn't quit my job to 2010 when my part-time money caught up with my full-time money. Right. And you got to have that 6 months reserve and all that kind of stuff. Because at the time, there was no husband. When I ate, I slept, whatever. That was it. My money ran out, end of the month or whatever. That was it. I had a great job, just over broke.
Right.
But when you got your own business, you can decide, okay, I'm going to do more closings. I'm going to do more whatever to make ends meet. And then the Lord blessed me to be able to teach others. So I actually, in 2010, I had 8 ladies around my dining room table. I was training to do what I was doing. And then 2012, it just got way too expensive. So I went to brick and mortar.
Okay. That is so awesome. Sandy.
So, Miss Cynthia, most people have different experiences that lead them down the path of entrepreneurship. And I like that you shared that you kind of just came to the conclusion because, you'd been given your time to others. What types of things did you have to go through in starting out? What kinds of struggles did you experience early on in your
Oh,
business?
yeah. I want everybody to know there are some ebbs and flows in this business. Okay. Because when I started, I took all my savings. And actually, when I first started, I actually was brain dead because I decided to start a hair salon. Right. The lady was braiding my hair one day and she's like, they're selling a hair salon in a Walmart Plaza. So I'm like, oh, sign from God. I bought it. If you ain't doing hair, you ain't got no business buying no hair salon. So I'm asking the Lord, I'm like, Lord, please give me a job. Give me a business I can walk to. I can walk to every day. 1 mile from my house. Okay, but I got a business already in my house called my notary business. I'm walking to it. I can go to it in my pajamas, but I didn't see that.
Right.
So I went and spent all this retirement money. I'm gonna tell y'all what I spent: $150,000. Soaked it into that business, thinking it's in a Walmart plaza. No.
Wow.
And so 2 years later, I closed it. But I still had that notary business that I was still running anyway, and that's the reason I left the job. So you use your
Interesting.
savings. You know, if you had a husband or whatever, you use his savings. But as long as you keep going forward and add, you diversify.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm now a notary processor for the state of Florida, which means you can become a notary or renew your notary through my company. I'm the only Black-owned female company that can do that. Period. Okay.
That
And there's
that's
there's
great.
there's only 17 of us in the whole state of Florida, right? And then you just keep going. And so then I start teaching others to do what I was doing. Now I'm actually, because of notary, I'm an insurance broker as well. So I got my insurance license. And whatever you do, whenever you decide that you want to go out on your own, make sure that all your businesses work together. You can't be
Yes.
no bricklayer and no electrician.
Right.
Whatever you get, it's got to work together. So I went to Broward County to their meetings all the time. So they kept telling me, why do you come to every meeting and why do you always sit up front? Because eventually I'm going to win one of these bids. You're going to give me a bid eventually, period. And the first bid that I won was, hold on for it, fingerprinting. Had
Hmm.
absolutely nothing to do because I was in a medical plaza and they were all like, why don't you get fingerprinting? Because, we all need to be fingerprinted. So I bought all the system and I did that. And that's how I won my first bid. But I had to get the certifications. So I would like to tell everybody that you need to get the certification. Like Broward County has CBE, County Business Enterprise,
Mm-hmm.
SBE, Small Business Enterprise. And then the school board have Woman-Owned Business Enterprise. And then there's other, I call them the BEs. I have all the BEs. But what the BEs are is like, remember when when we got that penny tax, it went from 6 cents to 7 cents? That penny is going to bring Broward County 16.5 billion with a B dollars, and 30% has to go to small certified businesses. 30%.
Gotcha.
So
Wow.
the big companies have to come find you to work with you. Now, my little company, I now have 6 employees. And last year we made over $500,000. My little company.
Wow.
Wow.
And that is so interesting that you said that, because I remember we had a conversation not too long ago, and I was still referring to you as a small business. And you gently corrected me and said, I'm not as small as when you first met me. My business, I made $500,000 last year.
Yes. And this year we're heading towards even more. The reason being, the state of Florida called me and asked me to write this class called RON, which I hope every notary, every person would get into that.
Yes.
Remote online notary, right? When the lady called me and asked me to write the class, the head of the state of Florida, I'm like, no, it was right before COVID. I'm like, no, I'm just way too busy. She goes, really? 2 weeks later, I called her back. Can I please have my blessing back? Okay, because now I'm one of 10 companies that you can become a RON in for remote online notary. That means I could sit right here at my home office, even though I have an office, and notarize for someone anywhere in the world and make $85 for, like, about 30 minutes worth of work.
A beautiful
So remember
thing.
that $40 an hour that I quit?
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Right. And so now you're making 85 a half hour and training other people to do the same thing.
And then you get a little cream off of that crop, because I own Cyna Cyna Learn, where I'm training the notaries. Plus, I own Cyna Group, where we sell insurance, property, casualty, life, health. I get paid on my house. I get paid on my flood insurance, my car insurance. And all these things are things that anybody with good moral character can become at a reasonable price.
I love
Period.
it. I love it.
So, when you're talking about getting certifications, this is something that I think a lot of business owners don't recognize. What are some resources that you've been able to tap into that kind of help, guide you in figuring out what certifications you need, and what kind of trainings did you go through?
Well, I'm going to go back again to Broward County. They have all these certifications. If you get the first two, they're free. They're begging people to come in and get these certifications because they've made so many rules where they have to break some off to the small business. Like I am partnered with, and I'm going to throw that name out there, Gallagher, one of the largest insurance companies in the world, period. I'm their minority business for Broward County schools, Miami-Dade schools, and Palm Beach schools, as well as the charter schools. So, and what happens is because like remember the 30% I was telling you about? When a big company gets an actual huge contract, they've got to find a smaller company and give them a percentage. And that is Broward County's rule. And that rule is 30% if it's county business. School board has it where you got to give them 10%. Okay. So, and you hear these people say, well, they're not going to pick you. No, there's a rule. They have to actually show that they paid you and everything. And I mean, I've got one company that I consult for that I'm on contract with. I get $1,000 a month and I'm a consultant and I have done apps. I have not signed anything, but they need my certification so that they can get paid. Certifications are free and online. And actually, I was talking to Lisa and I got her to go down and talk to Broward County because you guys can get certified for what you're doing. And then
I
the big
love it.
companies have to work with you.
So, just in case someone missed it, give me a couple of examples. Give me a couple of examples again of some certifications that your everyday small business owner should be looking towards.
Okay, CBE, County Business Enterprise. That
Awesome.
means you're in Broward County.
Nice.
SBE, Small Business Enterprise. That means that you're worth less than $3.4 million. I'm working on it. I ain't got there yet. So, but I want to graduate. Okay. Then you got
Definitely.
this one, if you're a woman, you get the school board, it's WBE, Woman Business Enterprise. Then if you just happen to be just a minority, MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. Then they have one that's totally out in left field. It's called DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And don't think that's something saying that somebody's saying you're retarded or something. No, it's not. It means that you ain't worth $3.4 million.
All that means.
And it is nationwide. So that means I'm licensed in 15 states in my insurance. Any one of those states can use my DBE. And then I get a little something, something. And you keep adding up those little something, somethings. You have a whole nice little something. And then I have what's called ACDBE, which is Airport Concession Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. That means I can do notary in any airport in the United States and have a business there or partner with someone over there that I don't know anything about because you have that certification. And the certifications are free. So
Wow.
you get the CBE, SBE first through Broward County, and you can get the ACDBE and the DBE from Broward County, but it has to be a business that they can do at the airport. Okay.
This is vital
It's
information that I
very
hope
vital information.
I really hope folks are listening, and I'm definitely going to rewind on the replay for this because I look at different business endeavors all the time and try to wonder how we can grow our base and expand. But how can we expand if we're not tapped into these resources? So I thank you so much for that, Cynthia.
Well, especially when they're giving you money and they're guaranteeing that a company can come out of the in another state or whatever and come to where you're at. Broward County School Board, all the school boards, they have a list. These are our DBEs, our CBEs. You got to find one of those to work with.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I feel like you know, is it a well kept secret or do people really know?
Well, it's not a well-kept secret. I mean, they have all these free classes and they have actually you can follow them and it's I can't think of the letters right now, but I think it's OSDBE, something like that. But it's OOBSDBE. I don't know, but I can get that to you. But just go to browardcounty.org and look up small business. Then you can get it. They
Awesome.
have a newsletter they send to you, like, hey, these are the bids or this is what we're working on. Matter of fact, I just got one last night. No, yeah, last night, and I'm asked to bid on Broward County's insurance as a small business for the county.
That's a beautiful thing. So, is that how you branched off into insurance, or how did that
Oh,
happen? Let me
how
just
did I get?
back up and ask you that way.
Well, in insurance, I had a company because every notary has to be bonded. And so if you don't know better, these companies will take you to the cleaners. So this company was taking me to the cleaner. I was a new notary processor, but I had to pay them a certain portion out of everything I made. And so the guy tried to make my small business, and it really was small at the time, a subsidiary of his. And it's like, that ain't happening. So he kind of like, the lack of a better term, he poked the bear.
Okay.
So, because I used to get teased and I used to get called Alexander the Great. Because if I was one of those people, you poke the bear, I'm going to show you, because I was raised by dad with all brothers. So, you got to fight.
Okay. Right.
So I got my insurance license. And then once I got my insurance license for the 220, which is property, life, no property, casualty, and health. Then I got the 215, which is life, health, and annuities. Get that 215. I even have a link where you can get that for $25, 60 hours. Write one Medicare policy. You make $570.
Wow.
One Medicare policy.
Woo.
And Florida is where all the old people are. I'm one of them. And it is
I'm
what
not
it is.
shaking my
I
head
done
to
wrote
that
my
part.
neighbor over here. I done wrote my neighbor over there. I done wrote my sister-in-law. Everybody. I go to Tampa because that's where I moved over here from. All right, y'all turning 65. Let's go. and they do, because you learn your craft and you get good at it. But you got to get good at the one thing. I got really good at notary before I did anything else. And I can
Okay.
remember the first meeting I went to before I was certified. You know how they ask you, what do you do? So
Mm-hmm.
I stood up and I said I was a notary. This lady, and it happens to be a Black lady, told me, we got plenty of notaries. We don't need your help. You're
Ooh.
just a notary.
Ooh.
And then somebody came over and said, don't let her. And I just, quit the job and all this kind of stuff. So don't let negativity cause you to not be what God has for you to be.
Thank you.
Period. So somebody came over, and of course it happened to be from Broward County. And the
Okay.
guy's like, please don't let her discourage you. I wish I could see her now. I'd probably hire her. You need a job? Can I help us this time? I'm just saying.
And she might be looking too, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, you never know what just the least little thing you say might hurt that person that's just stepping out there, and you could just mess them up. I personally try to help everyone I possibly can, because I'm so scared that the Lord's going to say, you know what? You ain't blessing nobody else. I'm going to take the blessings I'm giving you. Lord has blessed me to hire my child. Now I can make my child and my grandchildren have a better life.
Gotcha.
My granddaughter has her 215 and sells more Medicare than I have ever sold. All you got to do is be 18, good moral character, get that insurance license, become a
That's a
notary for
beautiful
less than
thing.
$100.
What you're saying to people out there listening is that if you want to be in business for yourself, the path is not that difficult to navigate.
No, it's not. And I mean, you can start a notary business with $100 through my company. Of course, I'm gonna plug my company, okay?
Of course.
Anyhow, and if you call the state of Florida, they actually suggest my company. So for like about $95, you can become a notary. 4 years, your stamp and everything you need. And every time you use that stamp, you make $10. I had to take notary off my car. I had the magnets. People be chasing you down the street, waving their paperwork at you. Like, can you notarize this? Well, of
Right.
course. Then you make sure that you have Cash App or PayPal or something like that, because they're going to tell you, oh, I ain't got no cash. You got Cash App? You got PayPal? Get your $10. Do a divorce package. That's $180.
True.
So just saying, it's $30, and notaries can actually marry people. The last wedding I did on the beach, you can only charge $30 for the wedding, right? I charged $70 to go to the beach, $30 for the wedding. I did such a good job, they gave me a $50 tip.
Ooh,
15 minutes,
love it.
you know.
That's right.
So, and then you take it, and what I did, and I'm gonna toot my horn, I have revolutionized the notary business because I just learned everything I possibly could. I still had a full-time job, and my husband and I, we were dating, and he had the kids every other weekend. So every other weekend was empty, my time.
That's right.
That's when I learned my notary business. And I learned everything I possibly could about it because you want to be the number one go-to notary. Remember, I said the state of Florida called me and asked me to write the Ron
Yeah.
for the state of Florida? Well, guess what? About a month ago, the state of Montana called me and asked to write the Ron for Montana.
Oh, wow.
I finished that last week. So every time somebody in Montana take my class, I make $20. Wrote that class one time. I wrote the Notary Permit Runner book. And every permit, if you own a home or anybody that own a home, they need a fence, roof, whatever, you can become a permit runner. You can make anywhere from 75 to 150 running permits. I got Uber drivers running permits.
That's a beautiful thing, and there people are looking for jobs, and you just basically told people about so many opportunities out there. It's unbelievable. That's great.
Good deal. And hopefully somebody got blessed by that. That's my goal. Somebody's got to get blessed by that.
So, remote online notarization, that's a business whereby people go through the training with your company. When they finish with that training, they can be in business for themselves doing
They
that.
first have to be a notary in good standing. Once they're a notary, then they can become a RON, a remote online notary. Like I did a RON this morning, and the lady is in Illinois. She's selling property down here. It took me 15 minutes. Now I am probably a little better at it than most, but you can learn to get better at it. And I made $85.
Love it.
Okay, so and that's what we pay. We're nationwide loan service. So I made twice on that. I made as Cynanotary, then I made as a notary that actually did the work. So if I send someone to do a seller package, I'm paying them $85. If they're doing a borrow package, I'm paying $100. So
That's really great. And how long does it take to get that remote online notarization license?
it's a 2-hour class online.
2 hours. Beautiful deal.
Nice.
Thank you for sharing all that wonderful information. I have a question. I know we're kind of at the coming out of the pandemic. I don't know if we call it an endemic or exactly what it is, but did you have any shifts in your business because of the pandemic? What nuances happened for you during that time?
I had a large size business. It was about 1,500 square feet. So in the pandemic, what I did was, since I had won Broward County's fingerprinting contract, I couldn't give it back. I tried. They wouldn't take it. So anyhow, I right-sized. I have an office now that's 750 square feet. But now, since we're in an endemic and it's kind of like supposedly, but they just said a new breakouts in China. So it is what it is. I am at 700 square feet. Now I'm looking at the end of my lease in July to go back to that 1,500 because I have a team. But I think I'm probably going to still hang at the 7 and let people work from home.
Okay. So that was a necessary shift, obviously, with the.
Well, it cut all the expenses in half because you never, I didn't know what was going to happen because I didn't have a walk-in anymore. But God, I was asked to write that Ron business. So every time somebody became a Ron, ching, 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 ching.
So, Miss Cynthia, when I think about entrepreneurship or being, an entrepreneur, there's so many things that flood my head, and social media gives people imagery regarding what entrepreneurship is. What is entrepreneurship to you?
Everything. I worked, like I said earlier, I am 66 years old. So I quit my job just over broke, and I was had a good job, but you know what? When you got through driving all the way and got through paying for everything, I went paycheck to paycheck, but I sure wasn't didn't have a luxury where I could go and buy anything I wanted, you know. But when you have your own business, especially the notary business, you can do more closings, you can do more other things. But then if you branch out and start helping others and everybody make money, now you're making, because you know I started off with I, and now it's we. Okay, I have a team, and then everybody specializes in certain things. And then you have two people that you try to get two specializing in that, because if something happens to one, or if that person decides to leave and go to their own business, help them. Don't hinder them. Because as long as you're doing everything with your hands open, the Lord blesses you hand over fist, and you get just so much more.
Yes. Wow.
And in
So
your when you have your own business, you can decide on how much you make. When you're
true.
working for a job, but don't quit your job until you have something that supplements. Now, when I quit my job, my child was an adult. Okay. So if I didn't eat, it was me not eating. But, you know, and not only that, insurance, because a lot of small businesses do not have insurance. I sell insurance, so I'll make sure I have it.
So
But a lot of small businesses
what do you want to say more in depth about the whole insurance piece? Because a lot of small businesses may not even think about insurance when they're getting started.
well, right now, my husband had open heart surgery. So he has job. He works for CVS. He's been there for years. Now he's getting 60% of his income until he heals. If you're not, if he didn't have the insurance, it would destroy us. Because imagine being in the hospital in ICU for 8 days. Everything you own is gone, period. So just that alone. But then not only that, what if something happens to you? Who's going to take care of your child? It's a lot of us don't have insurance. I mean, even the basic, if, you know, and everybody have had a family member to die, especially during COVID. And there's a thing where they're giving you back X amount of money if you do know someone that died of COVID. And I do have that link if anyone needs it. But where people, I mean, my neighbor in front of me, she died. My neighbor on my right-hand side, she died of COVID. Fortunately, they did have what they needed. But my neighbor in front of me, when his wife passed away, he was on her insurance. So he was, you know, complaining to me one day. And fortunately, he's old enough to get Medicare. He's paying about $500 a month. Wrote his Medicare. Now he pays zero. But that's if you're of 65 and older or disabled. But they have basic insurance. You got to have insurance. If you just get sick, if you slip and fall, who's going to pay you? And if you have your own business, you really need insurance. Because at least if you have a job, you have some benefits.
That's true. And what about covering business partners?
Well, I actually have key person. They call it key man. There's no man in my mind. My husband is not on my business. It's key person. I want to say key woman, but it is key woman. So if something happened to the key woman of the business, then X amount goes, and then, you know, because you don't want the business to die with you if you can help it. You know, you want to leave a legacy, especially if you have children or someone you care about. You want to leave a legacy.
That's true. That's very true. And what do you say about ownership interests when people have to go in business with each other? I know you have something to say about that.
Well, I started my business. Okay. So I put all the blood, sweat, and tears in there for the first 5 years. And then I got a business partner. Okay. I did not wake up stupid. You always are the major person in your business. You should own a minimum, I say personally, of 60% and never give that up. I own 80% of my business, but because it's mine, you know, but my business partner has a portion, plus she has a salary and everything else, and then bonuses and stuff because of the business.
Nice.
Love it.
Wow.
Now, we did have a
Sandy,
couple of years where we didn't get no paycheck
right,
because we had to pay all the bills and get
right.
everything done. But as long as you don't give up and you can still pay the bills and get things done and keep moving forward and learn everything you can about your business, whatever craft or whatever business you decide to go into, be the best, period. And I'm going to tell you this, and I was ex-military, so I'm going to tell you it anyway. Um, I, you know why prostitutes get like the really well-paid prostitutes get paid so much money?
Why?
Because they treat every John like they're the only one.
I know that's right.
That is a fact.
So
I
be
know
the
that's
best
right.
I don't care what it is you're doing, be the best at it.
Woo!
Period.
That is such great advice. Do you know how old school that is, though?
I am old school, girl. I am a grandmother. I'm old school.
I had an auntie that said, if you gonna be a dog, be the best damn dog there is.
Well, my grandmother used to say street sweeper. You're going to be a street sweeper. Be the best one you can. There goes the best street sweeper in Florida. Whatever. And I literally revolutionized the notary world because there was no Black people standing out in the notary world in Florida.
That's true.
And so I just found out everything notaries could do, period, and make money. Everything. I should even
Yes.
have a book about it. 25, not a book, but actually just a thing that says 25 ways that a notary can make money. I mean, hospitals, people need POAs. I did POA and a will today and all of that. You can charge a travel fee. There's all kind of extras, even though, people say, oh, you're just making $10 per stamp. Okay. It took me 5 minutes? I did the journal, whatever. It took me 5 minutes. I made $10 in 5 minutes. How many
So
5 minutes are in an hour?
you know what I mean? That's a lot of 5 minutes in an hour.
Yes. There's 12 of them.
12 of us, right? 12 sets of 5. So tell us, if folks want to get in touch with you because they are ready to go. I mean, you have talked about business opportunities. Where can people sign up? And tell us how to reach you.
Cynanotary.com. Cynna, C-Y, well, there it is right there, notary.com. Email is Cynthia@cynanotary.com. Now, if you do email me, you got to put something in the subject line, like you can put in here about LearnBiz. Then I know that's where you're from. Because I'm going to tell you personally, I do get about 200-300 emails a day because I am licensed in 15 states. And I do this talk thing often. Matter of fact, last week I did it for Sunrise, the city of Sunrise.
Nice.
Because I became Broward's, I'm their like golden child. Would that be a good word?
Yeah.
I'm their success story. Because they know when I was coming there and I was just a notary. I don't care what you are, be just the best at it you can be in that.
That is really, really great advice. And I did talk to Sandy, as I told you, and he said he would come on LearnBiz and share more about all the BEs, the SBE, all the ones you named. So we'll get more information. But thank you for just being a real life example of showing how those certifications can work, how they work for you. Thank you so much for the wealth of information that you just shared with us.
Quite welcome. And thank you all for inviting me. It was an honor.
Absolutely. And we definitely appreciate you, Miss Cynthia, for coming on. Cynanotary, please check her out, cynanotary.com. Also, please be sure to click the notification bell so you'll be notified about some great interviews that we do like this one. And definitely remember to subscribe to our channel. So thank you for tuning in.
Well, this is my first time, and I'm going to subscribe to this channel so I can refer people to it.
Thank you so much. We're always looking for entrepreneurs to interview because, as you know, we do learn from each other.
Oh, yes.
All
God
right.
bless y'all.
All right. Have
Amen.
a wonderful evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.